Future historians are going to record 2020 as the year Western civilization began slipping back into the Dark Ages. Writers and poets have romanticized this era. Even recently, video game creators have loved to use this backdrop as the setting for their exciting adventures they send people on. When truly, this was a horrible time to be alive. Because nobody knew how to think. They had forgotten how to sit down calmly, rationally, and solve their problems. It was one emotional reaction followed by yet another one, and the more visceral your reaction, the better. Nothing happened that was the result of simple logic. In today's video, I'm going to show you evidence for this because it's happened right here at the Florida Maquis channel. We've been talking about a certain subject lately that has gotten a lot of people, bent out of shape because they think it's so wildly immoral. But I'm going to bring something to your attention that's been in front of everybody this entire time and ask you to judge these two things side by side. Which is really the more or less moral? How many of you would agree with the statement that criminals, especially the ones in Washington, D.C., they don't obey laws? They do whatever they want to. They don't moralize about it. Whatever is good for them, that's the rule of law. For them. Now, I want you to hold on to this idea and keep it in your mind that Washington, D.C. is full of criminals that don't obey laws. They might have been elected, and duly so, to whatever seats they're in, but they can do whatever they want without any moral judgment one way or the other. Hold on to this idea. How many of you out there have been in the military? Have served in the military? How many of you out there have been in the Army or the Marines? Where it's your job to pick up a weapon designed to kill people and vigorously and actively pursue your enemy to exterminate him with said weapon. That's your job in the military. Now, how do you determine who the enemy is? It's real simple. You don't. See, this is where video games have everybody screwed up. And this is my allegation about the Dark Ages. Do you know who determines the enemy? Yep, that's right. Washington, D.C. Pardon me. If you're a member of the military, if you're a member of the U.S. military, the civilians in Washington, D.C. determine for you who the enemy is. It's not your job to debate the morality of it. They could say it could be whoever they want tomorrow. And it would be your job as a member of the military to pick up that weapon and any other weapon you might need to and go find that enemy they have determined for you and exterminate them without forming one single opinion about it in your head. That's your job. You're a tool. You are a tool. Carl Weathers said it best when he spoke to Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator. You're an asset. You're an expendable asset, and I used you to get the job done. That's basically the mission of every soldier, sailor, airman, marine, guardsman, space force, whoever. You do what you're told. You follow orders. You don't follow that lawful order, you go to jail for the rest of your life. And in some cases, you could be executed. Now, hold on to that idea. These are the guys in charge of determining who your enemy is in the military. Getting queasy a little bit? Well, Florida Maquis, that's why you're never going to catch me in the military. Really? Really? So let me ask you a question. When it came to your kid, and you had a choice, especially this whole idea of women in the military. picking up weapons and going down range and executing people at Joe Biden's behest or at Lloyd Austin's behest, because that's what it is. Let's just speak what it is. If he gives the order and you don't follow it, spend the rest of your life in prison or follow the order. Those are your two choices. But this was immoral. This was immoral. Especially to my audience who, they love talking about stuff like this. They love to watch videos that show this. They think, oh, this is so cool. They have no idea what they're even seeing. What this young lady is learning to do right here is take this very advanced, heavy weapon and slaughter dozens of people. Dozens and dozens at a time. Because somebody told her to. That's the enemy. That's Joe Biden's opinion. That's Lloyd Austin's opinion. And it is now your opinion that they are an existential threat. It's now your job to take this machine and exterminate them from the planet without making one moral assessment of it whatsoever. Oh, but this is the moral bridge too far to talk about here. This, our role in the hay, this idea of what's been going on since literally the dawn of time, this is way more immoral. We can't talk about that. No, we can talk about this. Hey, private genie here. You see that? You see that person way downrange there, 3/4 of a mile away from you right now? Yeah, center mass. Center mass with a big smile on your face. Who are they? We don't care. Joe Biden and Lloyd Austin said that's our enemy. And that's all you need to know. Lock and load. Super fun, huh? See if she does that. That's perfectly moral. Perfectly moral, perfectly fine. Let's talk about that all day long. Let's talk about the specifics and the specs of this weapon or the specs of that weapon. That's perfectly fine. But this? No, Florida Maquis. What if it was your daughters? If it was my daughters? And is the choice between going and slaughtering people in mass at the behest of Joe Biden and Lloyd Austin? What if this was your daughter? Versus a roll in the hay for a sack of groceries? You see, I wouldn't like either. But if I had a choice, a daughter came to me and said, which down the road do you think is going to ruin my life more when I look back? What if it's this? You see, there are some things out there that are way worse than prostitution, guys. Way, way worse. And the U.S. Army even knows it. Because they're starting to get the idea, we can't expect people to not start asking questions about who we're going to tell them to go kill. See, this is the part that really bugs me about all this. That people just don't get it. People just don't get it. See, they love this, and it does such a disservice to women you take to the range. See, because, when you're just aiming at tin cans or just some random thing downrange and you're pressing the trigger and all this is happening, oh, great fun. Try envisioning men, women, somebody's uncle, somebody's brother, somebody's sister, somebody's aunt in front of this. Because that's what it's designed to do. That's what it was designed to do. This weapon is designed to erase a human being from the planet, somebody you don't even know, from so far away that you could barely even see him with the naked eye. Not up close and personal, not defensively. Pick up, go to another country, and vigorously, with extreme prejudice, Exterminate whoever Lloyd Austin and Joe Biden tell you to exterminate. That is your job. Your job. I'm sorry, but versus this? Versus that? Really? In the shame category? In the shame category. I don't think you can even compare the two. Neither one is ideal. But this is the end of the world. This is Florida Maki. You can't talk about this. This is beyond the pale. It is so shameful and so horrible. We don't even want to discuss it. It's going to be the reality. Grid down, power down, end of the world situation. Anybody who's even studied a little bit of history, for the first time on the planet right now, see, they're not reporting it. First time on the planet right now, this particular activity isn't being driven by men. Let me say it again. For the first time in known history, it's not being driven by men. Consequences. Just ahead. The ones that are coming, people have no idea. And look, you can make whatever argument you want about how this is immoral and that is immoral and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. I want you to look at this. And I want you to look at it closely. And I want you to think about all of our sons and daughters under arms and the decisions they're not going to be allowed to make. Because you aren't. You don't make the decision who your enemy is in the military. It is who your superiors says it is. You refuse an order, you go to jail for the rest of your life. And in the cases of during wartime, you refuse a lawful order in a combat situation, you can be summarily executed. Guys like talk about, well, I go over to make sure all my buddies come home. The defensive excuse doesn't fly with me. And like I said, my daughter's one's 30 and one's 28. If I had a choice between what their life experience could be, and it was this, or slaughtering people en masse at the behest of Joe Biden and Lloyd Austin, what would you want if you couldn't intervene in any other way? What would you want? This or this? Blasting people to kingdom come you've never met before? Who don't know you, who don't have a problem with you? But because Joe Biden wants them gone, you're going to make sure that happens. Oh, but this is immoral. This is way too immoral. We can't even talk about make-believe brothels on Defiance. See, this is why I say we're in the dark ages. Because when I say it like this, people are like, oh, crap. Oh, crap. Wow, yeah, you're right. You're right, Maki. It's not even close. Murdering people versus an hour rolling the hay for a few $100. Or feeding somebody's family. We got our nose all bent out of shape about this. And this, when this is going on. Oh, but this is fun. Oh, this is great fun. Super fun. Out of context. You put this in context. This is just our particular version of the devil's paintbrush. And it's horrible. And I mean, it's nauseatingly horrible when you think about it being someone's loved one in front of this. On the wrong end of this. And why are they on the wrong end of this? Real simple. Joe Biden or Lloyd Austin doesn't like them. That's the only criterion. Still don't think we're in the dark ages? I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.